Have you ever felt like you've prayed long enough, cried long enough, and waited long enough, and still nothing seems to move? You look at this person God has marked in your spirit, and everything in you whispers, maybe I should just give up. But listen closely. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to lean in deeper. Because the very silence that feels unbearable is often the space where God is doing His most hidden, most powerful work. The story of Ruth and Boaz didn't unfold overnight. It took divine timing, positioning, and unseen preparation. What looks like delay to you might just be God aligning something eternal. Right now, before we go further, I want you to do something prophetic. Write one word in the comments that reflects your heart in this moment. It could be faith, it could be trust, it could be hope. By typing that word, you're not just interacting, you're declaring it into your life. And while you're here, if you want to go even deeper into these kinds of prophetic confirmations, check the playlist in the description. Every video there builds on this journey, so don't miss it. Now hear this. God has not placed this person in your spirit by accident. When 1 Corinthians 13 speaks about love, it says love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. That perseverance is not just about clinging to human effort. It's about trusting that God Himself is holding this story together. You may not see the progress with your eyes, but there are threads being woven in the unseen realm that will one day make sense in a single, breathtaking moment. And here's what makes it even more intense. The enemy will whisper at this stage. He will make you believe that silence equals abandonment, that delay equals denial. But the word says in Habakkuk 2:3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." This isn't just about vision. This is about that person God continues to confirm to you. The appointed time is real, and the tarrying, it's only an illusion of the flesh. Have you noticed that every time you try to fully walk away, something happens that draws your spirit back? A dream, a word, a sudden stirring during prayer. That's not coincidence. That's divine reminder. That's God saying, I'm not finished here. The wait is painful, but it is purposeful. Even the tears you cry are watering the ground of the promise. And let me leave you with this. What if the very reason you feel the heaviest now is because you're closer than ever? What if the silence is actually the final test before the breakthrough? Imagine the day when everything aligns and you realize heaven was moving all along. But here's the tension. How do you know the difference between divine waiting and your own wishful thinking? That is where the true test comes in. You've asked yourself many times, what if I'm only holding on to an illusion? That fear eats away at your confidence. You start to question, did God really speak? Or was it just me? But let me tell you something that will steady your heart. God is not the author of confusion. When He confirms a person to you, He will continue to highlight them in ways that pierce through your doubts. Not because you're obsessing, but because His Spirit is consistent, and consistency is one of the hallmarks of God's voice. Think of Gideon in Judges 6. He asked God for confirmation, not once, but twice. And God, in His patience, honored that request. Why? Because when something divine is at stake, God does not leave His children wandering in darkness. The person you keep feeling drawn to? If it were just your emotions, the conviction would have faded by now. But if God is behind it, He will continue to shine light on them in moments when you least expect it. Here's where the tension sharpens. Waiting can feel like punishment, but in reality, it's preparation. Imagine Joseph in prison. Forgotten by men, but not forgotten by God. What looked like delay was actually the very soil in which his destiny was being prepared. And you, yes you watching this, are in a similar place. You may feel stuck, but heaven is rearranging things that are beyond your view. Pause for a moment. Can you sense the weight of that? This waiting season is not wasted. Every prayer you've whispered, every tear that has fallen, every night you've stayed awake wondering if you should let go, God has collected them. Psalm 56:8 says, "He keeps your tears in a bottle." That means not one moment of your pain has slipped past His attention. And that person you're waiting on, they're in His hands too. God is working on them even when you cannot see it. Now here is where your faith is tested most. It's easy to trust God when things move quickly. It's harder when you have to sit in silence. But silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. Think about Elijah on Mount Carmel. After the fire, the earthquake, the wind, God's voice came in a whisper. Sometimes what feels like silence is actually God drawing you into deeper sensitivity. He wants you to tune in beyond the noise, to hear Him confirm again what He already whispered to your heart.
And let me tell you this, if God wanted you to release that person completely, He would have made it clear. The fact that He continues to press their presence in your spirit, even after you've tried to walk away, is not a mistake. It is divine persistence. But here's the pressing question you must face. How do you hold on without letting the weight break you? How do you carry the tension without letting it crush your faith? The answer lies in a spiritual principle that many overlook. The principle you must understand is this: waiting is not passive. Waiting in God is active faith. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles." That verse does not describe people sitting idly. It describes people who are strengthened, elevated, and sharpened while they wait. Your waiting is shaping you. And more than that, it is shaping the person God has chosen for you. Think of it like a seed in the ground. You cannot see what is happening beneath the soil, but roots are forming. The foundation is being secured. If the seed is dug up too early, it dies. If you walk away from this promise too early, you risk aborting the very story God is writing. That's why He keeps telling you, don't give up. But here's where it gets hard. Your emotions don't always line up with your spirit. Some days you feel strong, and other days you feel like the silence is breaking you. You see them living life, maybe even unaware of how much weight you carry for them. And in those moments you ask, God, do they even know? Do they even feel the same? And heaven whispers, trust me, I am working on hearts behind the curtain. This is where your role becomes crucial. Your job is not to force, not to chase, not to manipulate outcomes. Your job is to remain faithful in prayer, steady in trust, and consistent in your own growth. Because while you wait for them, God is also preparing you to be ready when the promise finally unfolds. That is why the enemy fights you so hard in this season. He wants you to exhaust you before the fulfillment. He wants you to surrender not because God failed, but because you became weary. And this is why I need to pause here and speak to your spirit. Don't lose your oil while you wait. Remember the parable of the 10 virgins in Matthew 25? 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. The wise kept their oil even when the bridegroom delayed. The foolish ones gave up too soon and missed the moment. You are called to be among the wise. Keep your oil, keep your fire, keep your hope burning. Now listen closely. This is the part most people overlook. God is not only testing your faith in His timing, He is also protecting you from counterfeits. The reason the wait feels long is because God is ensuring that the one chosen for you is refined, shaped, and aligned. If He rushed it, you might end up in a connection that looks right but crumbles later. So when you feel tired of holding on, remember this truth: delay is not denial. Silence is not rejection. It is protection. But there's one final, deeper reason God tells you not to give up on this person. It's the part that reveals the true weight of your connection, and it will change the way you see this entire journey. You made it this far for a reason. Feel that. Breathe it in. This is the place God uses to separate what is wishful thinking from what is covenant. You have been refined by waiting, not broken by it. Each quiet night, each prayer that felt like it vanished, each vision you thought was only imagination, those things were not wasted. They were fuel. They were shaping you into someone who can carry what God intends to give you. Remember Romans 8:28 that God works all things for good for those who love Him. That promise is not abstract. It is personal. It speaks directly to your story. Right now, I need you to listen with the ears of your spirit. When you see this person, when their name surfaces in your thoughts unexpectedly, do not treat it as a test to your patience alone. Treat it as confirmation to your destiny. God uses repetition. He uses dreams. He uses little nudges that feel inconvenient. He uses people who return unexpectedly into your life. Each nudge is a stitch. Each return is a thread in the tapestry He is weaving for you. This is evidence, not accident. This is evidence of a hand that will not be satisfied until the fullness of the promise is achieved. You asked how to hold on without losing your sanity. You ask how to stay holy in your waiting. Here is the answer. Keep your heart clean. Keep your eyes honest. Keep your prayers honest. Do not build your hope on perfect timing. Build your hope on the character of God. Pray for them. Bless them in your private moments. Pray for their protection, their growth, their revelation of God. When you bless them, you align yourself with the blessing that will one day return to you. This is not passive prayer. It is active faith. It is warfare in the Spirit that prepares both of you for the covenant. Now hear the bold word I must speak. The moment of breakthrough will not feel like a polite knock. It will feel like the sudden rising of the tide after a drought. Everything disciplined in you will be needed. Your patience, your faith, your perseverance. That day will expose what the waiting has perfected. It will reveal that you did not wait in vain. It will show that God was moving both hearts, often in silence, often in places you did not see. When it comes, you will not recognize the old you as the one prepared for this encounter. You will step into that meeting with integrity, with wisdom, and with a quiet authority that says, I waited and I was faithful. Before the end, I must ask you to do something powerful. In the comments below, type one word that captures what you need right now. Make it a prophetic word. Make it a declaration. Words like faith, enough, ready, receive. By typing that word, you are not merely engaging. You are making a spiritual act. You are agreeing with heaven. If you feel this message,